Welcome to the Chromaniacs, your weekly look inside San Diego FC and MLS. My name's Craig Elston, joined as always by my two Chromaniacs, Tony Sanchez and Alex Pena. Tony, what's going on?
Well, I was so happy to be back at Snapdragon, and nope, it gets taken away on the road, back-to-back matches ahead for San Diego FC. Another test. We'll see if this can last with the players available that they have so far. We'll hear from Mikey for that availability report, and a surprising name making a return to training, actually. It may not be who you think it is, or it might be, depending if you're paying attention. Alex.
Oh man, it's good to be here on the Thursday night while the Padres are playing, and I have an answer for you. I was listening to Two Balls and a Mic on Monday. I think that Missy Elliott should be on that list of great female rappers that you guys were discussing, along with Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
Flip it and reverse it to Craig. Or you.
Better now. Here with you for episode 40 of the main show in our young, we're not even 12 calendar months into the existence of the Chromaniacs. I believe we started the first week of June last season. And already here we are, 12th episode of season 2, number 40 overall. And as I track it through our Spreaker podcast feed, with all of the post-game shows we've done and supplemental content, already 71 shows in less than a year. So let's go. Chromaniacs, giving you the SDFC content that you so dearly are looking for. If you do like what we're doing, and you can hit right away that thumbs up button on our YouTube feed, click subscribe so that SanDiego.Futbol is in your feed all the time, and it's going to get you more associated with being alerted when we're doing a live post-match show, and so on and so forth. If you're listening to the audio version of it, you can give us a 5-star rating, and so on and so forth. All of those things. We've done it. We've plugged it. Okay, let's talk about the show. On the show today, we've got Training Ground Sound from our friends, San Diego FC, down at Singing Hills, prior to them boarding a plane to head out to the Beehive State for Real Salt Lake Take 2. We've got some topics to cover. We'll preview that match as well. It's all coming up here on episode 40. And one thing we know for sure, guys, this is the time where SDFC is seeing red. They're seeing red everywhere they look. Red cards, players whose minutes are in the red, who have been ridden out to an extreme sense in these early days and weeks. And as a result, things are going from the black to the red in terms of the deficit of points being lost here over the course of the past couple of weeks. So let's start the show with the red card flurry. It's 6 cards in 6 games, but breaking it down, what's been so devastating, gentlemen, is that 6 cards in 6 games, devastating in and of itself. But when it's specifically the 2 guys you count on the most on defense, just trading off game after game, Manu Dua gets a red, Chris McVeigh gets a red, Manu Dua gets a red, Chris McVeigh gets a red. It's constantly putting Mikey Vadas and club behind the 8 ball for the next match.
Yeah, and that's true, because you're going to have a young back line for this match, and you can only hope for the next one. You're going to have Chris McVeigh and Manu Dua out there, and those are your best center back options right there, and pretty much almost your only options now, due to injury too. It just, what sucks about the whole situation is also you don't have that many options behind them just due to injury and circumstance. It's just Mikey Varas has nowhere to go. You have to start Oswald Sue. You have to play with a young back line, and it for me, it's you kind of for Chris McVeigh and even throw Manu Dua out there too. I think you have to know a little better and know the circumstances and be aware of that you are shorthanded, that you are needed, and you can't be taken out because of a red card. It's not a smart move.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways too that this is kind of happening, and it's direct red cards in the case of the Mano Dua against Toluca, just handling the ball in there. But it's been a lot of compiling, yellow cards, and two in a game gets you out, and that's what Chris McVay's seen. And I think that also just kind of speaks to not just the nature of these actions. They're not just out of the blue, wild Luis Suarez biting people, elbows to the groin. Like, no,
Right.
like just there's just a lot of physicality and a lot of necessary fouls. Even looking at the way that Chris McVay got his last red card, he gets a yellow card in the 12th minute because he's having to come over and he gets kind of taken out of position with a speedy Yaboa, and McVay isn't the fastest one, and I think that's something that people are discovering. This defensive line, outside of possibly Bombino, isn't the fastest line. And he also doesn't have Mano Dua tracking back with those long legs because it's Oswald Sue. And so he has to kind of make up on that sense. It was pointed out to me, too, that in that first yellow card action for Chris McVay actually presses a little high on the field. And so, you really have that advantage because you had just scored. You want to keep that pressure on. So you're moving up high press. You want to keep that momentum going. But in that case, you kind of get the whole backside taken because there's nobody there, and you concede that. But it's a very interesting situation, and it can come down to individual plays, individual players. But I think this is more not just necessarily the symptom of, but just the reality of these players are tired. They're mentally exhausted. They're having to be put in this situation yet again. Yepes, that fifth defender perpetually in the beginning of the season, they haven't gotten a break.
Yeah, no, our number 6 has just turned into a fifth defender, more and will be once again in Salt Lake, because without McVay out there again, now you're back to an even younger version of what's in the back. And I think that's been the thing that has stood out to me the most, of course, and we can talk about it more. It's just the overall youth of the back line. But staying specifically on the topic of the red cards, you were just showing that highlight, Tony. I know it's been probably the one that is stuck in the craw of SDFC fans the most, the second yellow card against Chris McVay, because it was an unusual play, and it's one that I think can be subject to interpretation. My personal feel on it is that it's a kind of soft call for a second yellow. It might be technically a play you can rule as a yellow card, but it feels like within game context, kind of a soft call to take a player out of the game for this particular action.
Man, for me, that's a card every time. That's a card every time. Even if you have possession of the ball, you overextend yourself, and then you have to overcommit. And in that overcommitment, the opposing player, the defender, can just slide his foot underneath and get that call. Maybe it's not one of these things where in baseball you can't lean into the pitch, right? In soccer, you can lead into contact. Look at Preston Judd and what he did. He leaned into the contact, or got leaned into by Mano Dua enough to get that card. Right. And that's that savviness that's coming with some of this experience, that the experienced players that are facing San Diego FC, where they're catching up. These kids are young. They're athletes. They know how to play. They know the game. They can keep up physically with these professionals. But mentally, in those layers, like, this is why this experience is so important, because that these kids are going to overcommit in some places, or the veterans have to cover for the kids who are overcommitting, and they get themselves into trouble. And now you got the kids all alone with no, adult presence, unfortunately.
Yeah, and to me, I kind of agree with Craig, because I wrote it. I also said it was a soft call, because it just seemed like from that angle, from that far away angle that you see on your screen, it's more like McVay is handling the ball, and his momentum is carrying himself towards the player, and he has nowhere to go. Like, how can that be a foul if he has nowhere to go, nowhere, and he has possession of the ball. I'm guessing for you, Tony, it's more of what the rule book says, and in your interpretation of the rule book. So that's
Remember,
probably
he's a goalkeeper. Remember,
yeah.
and
So like,
anti-offensive action all
No,
times.
yeah. I mean, sure.
Yeah.
What's the center back doing there? If I'm completely honest, right? If I go with the goalkeeper mentality,
mhm. Yeah, and I think that's kind of like what a lot of people want to know is like, is that more of like, yeah, that's from the rule book that's why the yellow was given.
it has to be all right.
Yeah.
Like if the roles were reversed, if the shoe was on the other foot, and this was a player of San Diego FC, if it's Honors Dryer getting stomped on, and here's the thing, that's not the red card, right? That's a yellow card.
Right. It's a
Action.
yellow card. Right.
And I've seen that be given, and Chiva on Monday even said, like, we've seen that be given a red because it is studs on foot, like directly, you intend it or not, it's still studs on foot. It could hurt a player safety. But it's that overcommitment, and I think it's fine. It would have been fine had there not been a yellow card. We wouldn't be talking about this action had it been a yellow card, had there not been one from Chris McVeigh in the first half. And I think, again, that's the bigger picture, right? You lose a player because he had to make a play, at least in his mind, had to make a play that would save a goal. In his mind, Chris McVeigh earned that yellow card, and he's like, yeah, this was a free kick and didn't lead to anything. So great. Like, I'm fine. But it's just one of these things where if you look at the whole, well, you've also gotten more than one red card because of accumulation. Like, what's going on, Chris? Like, I think that's the point. Didn't also help that the next day it was his birthday, and the comment section went in their way, and just the gifts of red cards and just everything that comes with it, right? Red velvet cake and everything at the end of it. But it's a contact play for sure. Like, it's a contact sport, but it's a stomp. I think we would be arguing the other way had it not been given to a player on against San Diego FC, right?
Yeah, and I think that one other question I have about this is, and we didn't talk about this when it happened against RSL. Surprisingly, we're gonna talk about them later. But you guys were at the game. I was watching at home, and they had like a little, like like during the match, someone was talking to Mikey Varas, and I guess that person asked like, "Hey, like, what do you want to see out of this team?" And he said, "I want to see Chris McVeigh get more aggressive," and he got 2 yellows because of that. and then like, and we saw it here. We saw it here in the last match too, right? The style of play kind of, he had to take the first yellow, and then also got a little aggressive on that second yellow too. And is the style of play kind of been an issue to that has led to these yellow cards?
It's very interesting you say that, because I'm building a theory, right? The whole idea about building a theory is that you have to test it. It's not proven until it is. It's an honest exercise to figure out, is something real or not. And the theory is that the league is onto the system. They have decided that high press is not the answer. It's this middle-ish press where they let the first 3 or 4 passes form, and then they jump, and they're looking for a turnover somewhere in passes 5 to 10 of the SDFC sequence, knowing that it's always a sequence. It's always beep bop beep bop boop beep beep boop boop beep 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 boop 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 boop. And if they can get that one good diagonal pass, if they can get that one good 3v2 on the left or the right flank, that's when SDFC's cooking with gas, right? That's when they're in business and they're moving. And previously, teams were deciding either to low block SDFC, play everyone in the back, allow all the passes, but sag the defense back in, right? That was one thing we saw from opponents last year. Other times you've seen them come all the way to the top and try to disconnect it from the very top. And you're still seeing that against SDFC. But what's been so effective that I feel like maybe Toluca introduced and got refined in San Jose, and maybe maybe it's starting to now pass around, is this idea to just kind of hang back 5 yards, let the young defenders try their first couple, and then jump on them. And more times than not, it's led to a turnover, and this is why I'm bringing it back to the discussion. And what does a turnover create? It's creating a scramble situation, or as Mikey calls it, a fireman situation, right? You're trying to make a fireman play, and that's when you're going to take a foul. And sometimes those fouls are going to be yellow cards. Sometimes they won't, and they'll be very successful things that you're doing as a defense. So you can't stop making those plays. But in the sense of being put into that situation more and more because of the schematic of what's happening these days, it's leading to these cards. Card accumulation leads to reds. All of a sudden, we have 6 reds. Because you get a couple of flukes in the group, right? You get the Vartson play against Toluca. That's a fluky red card. Obviously, Manu Dua throwing his arm out there, was ridiculous. But that was in kind of a no-lose situation. He'll serve that in a upcoming CONCACAF match sometime, right? Like, who cares? But the MLS cards have been generally, as you mentioned, either accumulation or that dual one that was replayed, into a red. And it's because they're continuously being put into bad positions by turnovers that are forcing them to scramble into fireman situations. That's my theory that I'm building on right now, like kind of what's plaguing the team overall and how it's impacting the red cards.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense because I think the midfield play is has been a little bit questionable, especially on that last match. They left a lot of space open in the midfield, and they were Minnesota was able to go like right through them, and yeah, I do feel like there probably needs to be an upgrade over the summer for in that spot to kind of help out Yepe and other pivot player that's going to be there. But I feel it. I mean, I see it. I'm watching it all the time. Like, these guys are desperate, and they have to take desperate measures too.
It's hard enough to play the system with 11. It's harder to play it with 10, and it's exhausting,
right.
and it's taking a toll for sure. And that's why, I mean, even Mikey was post match Minnesota almost joked about it, right? He was like, "Hey, look, we're getting so good at playing against 11 with 10 that just you wait when we get our 11 back and we play 100%." And that, we really truly haven't seen San Diego FC at their best. They're outside of possibly that. I will exclude the Toluca game where they were down 10 men because that's just an anomaly. That's somebody had a third monkey paw and a wish, and that's what happens. They wish for that victory, and then subsequently everything else has happened for San Diego FC. And I think now it's a matter of getting this team healthy. Unfortunately, you do play against a team that, because their opponent was the Seattle Sounders and they're playing in CONCACAF Champions League, they didn't play last week. So they're extra rested and extra prepared to welcome back San Diego FC into the altitude. But, I don't think we're going to see San Diego FC at their best before the World Cup. I think now it's just these last couple of games. We're 50 some days away from the World Cup beginning. I think they're just ready to get through these last couple of games, survive it, redline the players that they have, assess, lick your wounds where you can, and then move forward. But I think that's the one thing that has to just be, you start finding players, you start, just, I don't know what you do to fix this and just make sure that they don't get a red card. Like that's the one thing that's actively hurting your team. It's the red card situation, because injuries are going to happen. Yepe out there with a super big black eye, just walking around like nothing, still commanding the midfield, trying his best and putting it together. Like, man, like that's that single parent out there when you see like 6 kids on their side in public transportation. Like, man, I feel for you, man. And right now that's Yepe. Like he's going through it. Like, somebody please help him in the midfield.
Speaking of redlining players, Tony, you milled a very interesting statistic about just how hard San Diego FC is riding their young players.
Yeah, so it came out, I believe, CIES Football just had this number of accumulated minutes. So it's the most used teenagers over the last 365 days. Teenagers, obviously, still in their teens. And this is World Football. So you have Lamine Yamal, number one, who is probably the
Of
most
course.
phenomenal of the teenagers in his class, and just doing amazing things. Is a favorite to go into the World Cup with Spain. Has already won the Euros. So of course, you're going to use him. Another a player for our Barcelona as well. But then you just kind of go down that list, and you see a Luca Bombino for SanDiego.FC with 3,441 minutes in 8th out of all these players worldwide. I mean, to be in a list with anybody of that caliber has to be an honor. But sustainability wise, right? Like, you're looking at top leagues in Europe. You're looking at what's supposed to be on pace where these players should be if they're of that caliber. But everybody's over in Europe. There really isn't anybody in North America even close right now.
And right now, I'm kind of looking at what he did last year, and I can't even remember the last time Luca Bombino didn't start or was on the bench last year, and I had to look deep. I mean, it was last year's League Cup against Tigres. And then in the league, it was against Toronto. That was the last time he didn't start, and he played 30 minutes. But and then you're looking down the list, it's just 90, 90, 83 minutes, 90, 90, 49 minutes against the Timbers in the playoffs. But it's just incredible. Like this guy, they're redlining him, but I guess his youth and just his enthusiasm is just kind of helping them to, like, chug along. But eventually you kind of need to give this kid a break and have someone else out there. And I think there's options. There's options for left back but again, we kind of need people to be healthy to play in that position. Like, yeah, Willie Kamado could go out there and play, um but Luca is pretty elite. I mean, especially for this league, he's done a really good job. And the one thing I do want to see more from him is something he's really good at, and it's almost like the system or Mikey doesn't allow it. He doesn't send a lot of crosses into the box, and I wish I could. But also the problem with that is you also have to get him the ball on that side too, and I think in the last few matches they've shut down that side completely.
Well, what did you guys think about Brian Zamblé and his performance last game? Because he was out there, he got the start, and in times it seems a little bit like he's a little bit too green, just kind of lost out there. And Bombino had to step up in there again, giving him another role to do on the left side. So, I'm real quick. What do you guys think of his performance?
Not a lot, to be honest. I mean, I thought it was, I don't think he did anything noteworthy in a negative way necessarily, but I don't think he spurred the action in too much of an impactful way, and it's not fair to put that on the young man. But as point of fact, he did start in an MLS game at an impact offensive position. So you're hoping he's going to create, electricity, excitement, chances. But I think SDFC didn't have, they had chances, right? They had some chances, and they generated more when it was 10 men. So, I don't want to, like, completely disparage the performance that you saw. You saw a good, in a lot of ways, a solid performance, one that was marred by errors. And those errors turned out to be critically costly. And that's kind of been the theme, I think, for SDFC of late. We can pile on the system. Like I said, I'm building a theory. I'm not convinced that it's right. Honestly, I'd love to see them go out there and really have success at RSL. But the thing is, it's just right now, red. So now we're back to the Duasu version of the center backs, and Tony, I don't think the injury report's offering that much in the way of hope or solace, or is it?
Not right now. Players are coming back to training, so you might get a couple of minutes here and there from some of the returning players. Eisner, looking at, I do know Willie will more than likely be featured once again. This time potentially starting again, depending physically where he's at with that. But you give Verhoeven a reprieve there because I think it's been a little bit unfair for Oscar Verhoeven, just his situation. He's been thrown out there and he's having to put out some rough film because the opposing teams are scouting him. And they know that, if you kind of take it to him, if you kind of have that speed and just blitz by him, it's going to be hard for him to get there. But, there's a lot of talk from what I've seen as well, like, oh, well, he's no good. He's getting, dismantled every game. But I think you're also comparing him to Luca Bombino a little bit too much because of where Luca Bombino is a very similar age, perhaps, and just what he does in a similar position just on the left side. He's, like you said, Alex, he's elite at it. He's really good at doing that. He took this place of Franco Negri, who was the hero in the original RSL San Diego FC away match, getting a goal out of nowhere by making a run into the box and receiving a cross. But that's who Luca Bombino put on the bench, a veteran of MLS who had just been in Miami, who had just played in that system. So I think it's a little unfair to compare Oscar Verhoeven to that because he's going to need a little bit more time to develop and cook in that little cocoon, but he had to be exposed a little bit because of the injury situation that you're in. But it's just a sprint to the World Cup for San Diego FC for just fitness, for just getting through these games. The system itself, I think, can get you a result. And we'll talk a little bit more about Salt Lake City. But I think even with the injury report being what it is, the system, and if this team is able to maintain 11 on the field, they have a chance systematically to pull out off a draw.
Let's get to training ground sound and hear the latest from the club before we send our sights forward to Saturday night's match in Salt Lake City. And what do we have hot off the grill, courtesy of the journalists, las jornalistas de SanDiego.Futbol?
Well, we'll have Mikey, we'll have some Luca Bombino, and some Aníbal Godoy. All right.
Let's go. Well, I like it. Let's start it off with our beloved
Mikey. Going to Salt Lake. Just the second time that we played there. The first time we faced them there, we came out with a 3-1 win on the road. Kind of just expectation playing there, a little bit of a challenge with the altitude. But other than that, what can you expect out of this match, and how's the group going into this game?
Yeah, what I would say is every season is totally different. So it's going to be a totally different challenge. It's a little bit of a different RSL. It's a very good team, well coached. They're doing really well right now. And that stadium is always a tough one. But we know that we have the ability to make big road performances. And that's our mentality always. And last game was a step in the right direction, even though the result didn't go our way. So we're feeling like we're getting back on track. And now it's about taking another step together.
What are questions?
Mikey, how do you feel like this team has responded over this last 4-match stretch in the MLS, not having picked up a win? How hungry, I guess, is this team going into this one?
Yeah, there's nobody in all of San Diego who wants to win more than the guys that are in this building. So that's first and foremost. Every time they step on a training pitch or in a match, they're trying their hardest to win the game. Right now, it's not really going our way. And the most important thing, though, is that we feel that in the last game, we got back to doing some real basic things really well. And ultimately, if we can string more of those plays together and get a little bit of consistency and really insist on that, we know that the tide will turn.
You guys just played Real Salt Lake. What did you learn from that match, and how do you feel like you can kind of pole vaulted into coming into this one?
Yeah, a team that's really dangerous, playing direct in the transitions on set pieces. They also can build up through you, but definitely got pace on the outside to go direct. And then ultimately, I also think what we learned is that we can keep the ball. We can be a little bit more efficient in our breakthrough moments against all the teams that we're playing. But we also know that we can take that step in the next game.
I know red cards have been quite a topic of conversation, and you mentioned it right after your last game. You expected some conversation about it. You said that you don't feel like some of the calls have been going your way, but even when you guys are out here in the training facility, is there something you guys are coaching your guys up on to kind of maybe hinder potential situations that they can put themselves in to pick up red cards?
It's so tough, right? Because if you put it in their head, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Like sometimes in life, that just comes even more towards you. So, of course, we all know we want to finish the game with 11. That's goal number one. We think that if we finish a game with 11, we give ourselves the best chance of winning, and we're here to win. Ultimately, it's about being a little bit more collective, so we end up in some like less isolated situations, and then ultimately, it's also about in the emergency situations, just making sure we're taking good decisions on the type of angles that we go at.
And that's really the key, right? That's just what I was talking about a little bit earlier. Is it's going to be on Manudua in this match first and foremost to make sure he plays in the next match. And that sounds like a weird thing to say, but when he's caught in a tough spot, it's better to concede a goal than it is to concede your position on the pitch and your ability to play in the next match. It's a veteran type thought, and it's difficult, I think, for a lot of young players and a lot of veteran players. Obviously, Chris McVeigh standing in the penalty box is, Exhibit A. Nonetheless, that's what this club has to improve on immediately.
Yeah, and I would just add the trust in Durant Fury. If someone does get past you, you got to trust that he can make the stop, and yeah, just rely on the goalkeeper, because you don't don't go down a man trying to stop somebody running into the box. I think Dua should probably have learned that lesson already, and yeah, we got to finish with 11 on Saturday. If we don't, oh man, this is like an epidemic problem now. They got to figure this out.
It's the most basic thing to do, as Mikey said. Like, hey, like it's to the point where he has to joke about it because they've done all the crying like they can do. If not cry, then laugh. But no, I think they really have to kind of go off what you said, right? It's almost insulting as a goalkeeper, going back to that. You don't trust me one-on-one that you think you have to go ahead and get this guy down and get us a red card? You don't trust the goalkeeper enough? You saw in Minnesota twice one-on-one situations, Durant handled himself fine. I'm pretty sure CJ or Cisniega in the position would also fancy themselves on a one-on-one situation. It's not a guarantee as it's made out to be in that. It's not an automatic penalty situation where, it's statistically so much worse for the goalkeeper to try to save that as opposed to a dynamic play. So trust the goalkeeper. I like what you're saying, Alex. Go goalkeepers in general. But yes, very minimum. Let's keep players on the pitch for sure.
All right. Any other thoughts, Tony, in terms of what you heard from Mikey there? Whenever I hear a coach start with, listen, there's nobody who wants to win more than us. That's not often uttered by the winning manager. It's usually what the guy who hasn't been winning feels like they have to say, and I understand why.
And to that point too, saying that, hey, like it's a different year, guys. Like, hey, we understand it's a completely different year, different teams. The opponents are different. RSL is a little bit better than they were last season, and it's a little bit of that conceit of like, hey, we know where we're at. We understand the situation that we're in. So kind of bringing back expectations potentially of what should be expected going into the weekend, which if that's the confidence level, then I don't blame you based on the data that's been happening the last couple of weeks, red cards, losses, near misses, and everything that's kind of happened. It's not going your way. But, for it was very telling in the post match. The one thing that Mikey always mentions, always, is having initiative, that there was initiative. He mentioned last match that at some point in the San Jose game, there was no initiative. There was nothing. And that's literally saying like there was no soul almost in that match. Whereas he did find the soul a little bit more in Minnesota. That's
Right.
kind of building up. The embers are building, but it's still kind of in the ember stage. You're not that rolling inferno that you had all season last season. You're gonna have to build up. But again, just kind of, hey, we're shading it, we're blowing on it, we're doing everything that we can. There's this thing, this typhoon of a red card thing that's happening that's hurting our little flame.
Yeah.
But we're trying, guys. Like it's the first time we also see San Diego FC go through this as well. Like they had a bad stretch last couple games, but they were last year, but they were able to figure it out. But they didn't have that big red elephant in the room, and that just throws such a big monkey wrench into the situation.
Outstanding extended fire building analogy, Tony. Well done. You'd make me think you're a Survivor fan. I could just see it. I could visualize it. The typhoon of red cards coming down and the tiny. There was an accurate thing. You rock the ember to build it into a bigger flame. Very, very well done. Let's move on to our next contestant here on Training Ground Sound.
Luca Bombino.
You're playing Salt Lake that, if we're talking about the series, it's kind of split. We got a draw with them just recently, but in 2025, there was a road on the win, and then they came back and did the same against us. Just tell us how the team is going into this match, and then for you on a personal level, if I'm not mistaken, I think you scored your first goal for San Diego there.
You are mistaken. I scored it against Houston at home.
Okay.
That was my debut, though.
Okay.
Yeah, still a memorable game. Still a memorable game. For me, as well as the group, we have something to prove. We're just getting back to the basics, going back to what makes us good. And this week of training, the week before, also we made really big steps in that area. Like I said, just going back to what makes us good, getting a lot of confidence on the ball, tidying some things up. But I think we have a lot to prove this weekend, and we're going to come out with a lot of intensity.
Luca, how frustrating has the stretch been, knowing that you guys haven't been playing up to the level that you have? And I know Mikey's talked a lot about just getting the basics right.
It's definitely frustrating just because we expect a lot from ourselves, and we proved in the first year that we can do it. So things haven't necessarily gone our way, but we know that we have all the talent and hard work within the squad to achieve the things we want to do on the field. So we're not stressed about it. We know that it'll come, and we're looking to get that started this weekend.
Do you feel like teams are starting to, maybe now that they've seen more and more tape on you all, that they're honing in more to what this team does scheme-wise, or is it just that this team's not maybe performing to the level that you want it to?
Look, maybe a bit of both. We know we're not at our best right now, but yeah, we're trying to get back to that. And as for the other teams, it's something we welcome. We do want the challenge of other teams adapting to our style, and I think that's good because it just gives us an opportunity to show that we can also adapt and break them down in a different way. So we're not worried about it. We just know that we have to control what we can control.
And red cards have obviously been a big topic of conversation lately. It's mostly been the center backs and one-off unlucky in Bartson and that other match. Has the coaching staff really kind of tried to teach you up on things you do or don't do, or they've not just kind of been like continue to play the way that you guys do?
The messaging is clear. It's just continue to play the way we play. We've been unlucky recently, but we know it's just a tough stretch, and we're going to get through it. It's not that we have to change anything. We just have to keep being us.
Great answers. Good questions there for Luca Bombino, I thought, as well. I mean, literally building off the discussion topics we've formed on the show. Are people catching up to your system? A little bit of both, but what I love what he said, guys, is we welcome it. He didn't say like this or that. He said we welcome it because we're going to break you down a different way, and we're going to show you that we can. So what that statement says to me is we know our system has an adaptability and a multiplicity of flow that can overcome any obstacle, essentially. It's a real total football type statement. If we're all playing total football, we can break down any obstacle, and we just have to figure out how to do it. So very encouraging from a confident young man.
Doesn't he sound like like a leader already? Like
Yes.
he's 18, 19 years old, and he's the one up there and taking all the questions and sounding confident. And it I do want to see if this system does have a second level to it, because I it does feel in the last 3 or 4 matches that teams have played them the same, and we've seen the result. It's I do want to see if they can counteract the high press and really get through it and get those passes out quicker, and be able to not only receive it but dribble it and get the second. It's all about the next pass that's going to come from that. So I do want to see it all come together. Hopefully against RSL, they'll make it happen, and they can flip the switch and pull off another 8 out of 10 wins like they did last year.
I mean, I think I've mentioned it before. For me, he strikes me to have, and I don't know if this is gonna make sense but a Peter Parker quality of him. Like Peter Parker, alter ego of Spider-Man. Just like he is that young leader, that young person who's courageous, is gonna go out and Spider-Man is one of these characters where he has to go, and usually he has the most depressing of situations, but he always pulls through and he's always there. And right now, looking at this version of Luca Bombino, he's Spider-Man Tobey Maguire in the second film, where he has that train and he's holding that defense together right now, and he's there, and but it's still just him. Like, he needs the help of his fellow superheroes in this case, right? And for Luca Bombino to be out there and be, like the leader that you're saying, it truly speaks to his quality, but it also speeds up that sand going down the timer for how long he's going to be here in San Diego FC. And, hopefully for San Diegans and the people who follow the team, it's a very long time. But I mean, it's a testament to the numbers that he's putting up, the quality of performances. Like, he's developed a knack for these half volleys situations where, he scored a couple now. Like, he doesn't shy away from those moments, and he steps up in an offensive way where he himself is like a big brother to Zamblé, because in those plays you can see him directing Zamblé into where he needs to be. And if not, he does it himself. And he was lucky and fortunate to be in that position where he strikes the ball really well and is up for goal of the week, or was up for goal of the week this season, or this week for MLS.
Important follow-up question. What do you know about Luca's uncle? Any word on anything on how his uncle has fared?
I don't.
Okay. Is he okay?
Okay.
I don't know. I will have to ask for more development on that canon event if it does happen. Hey, maybe it just happens where his uncle is a supporter of LA Galaxy or something, or LAFC where he came from, and that's the unfortunate
a real tragedy. In other words, yeah, a true tragedy.
And he looks more like Tom Holland.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah,
he absolutely looks more like Tom
imagery,
Holland.
Like Holland hasn't had that moment yet.
Okay,
he hasn't had it. Maybe in this next one.
Yeah. All right, let's get to Anibal Godoy to wrap up Training Ground Sound.
Cool. We'll go straight into questions. Whoever wants to take it away first.
Anibal, it's been a tough month for the club. How are your teammates feeling about the results, and how can you guys return to your winning ways?
Yeah, I think keeping working here in the field. I think is the best way to improve the performance and also the result. I think the last game, we improved the performance, but football is about results sometimes. And if you want to go to the playoff, and you have to win. But I think in the way we win, like here matter, like you have to win in good way also, play our football, play our style. And, in the end of the season, we see what happened. But I think if we go in day by day, training by training, I think we have a big chance to come back quickly.
How frustrating has been having so much success last season, all the success you had this year, to now be going through a tough stretch of
Yeah, I think in the last year we have like the same moment. I remember we lose 3 games in a row. I think it's a Charlotte Sun Lake here in home, and also Colorado. And after we come back, I think we know already, like a club, like a team, try to pass this moment, and it's about working. Like what I say, I think if we keep working every day here, we improve our quality and we have more chance to win every single game.
Is there an extra edge, motivation?
Of course, because last year, we're doing really well, almost all the year, all the season. But also in football, you have also this tough time, and you have to see the reaction of the group, and if the group is ready to take that moment, and I think the group is ready. We have an amazing group here, and we are ready to take every single moment.
What do you think the team's ready to get over that hump?
Sorry?
What has the team done to show that they're ready to sort of get past this?
Yeah, I think the attitude in the training, we put a lot of effort in the training, and also, I think because it's the best way to improve. What I say, like, if you're going direct to the game without training, without improving the training, it's difficult. You keep playing in the same level, and you keep also doing the same thing. I think we try to come here and to put the best effort we have, and to try to improve also in the video analysis. I think every small detail help the team to win.
How do you explain all the red cards lately? Is that just bad luck or
It's
something else?
I don't know. It's tough. I think it's a tough situation. I don't know. I don't understand what happened. I swear, because it's more difficult to play with 10 guys, and anyway we play, in the way we press, and you need all the 11 players in the field, but I think it's football. I think we have to improve in that part. But I don't know if it's luck, but I don't know what I say. It's difficult time to say this, to explain that feeling,
And a ball Godoy locking it in right there. I mean, I love it when he's asked about it. They're tired of hearing about it too.
And he's sincerely sorry about it. You can hear it as if he was the one committing the red card situations and he's involved. But it's like, no, like he's on the other side where he has to go back. And if you go back to that Chris McVeigh red card, my favorite just like moment, if you can have a favorite moment, it's just Valacari's just realization of what happens. And he just takes his hands like, oh, no, it's double shift again. Oh, your boss just asked you to stay overtime because the guy to cover your shift isn't here and he's not going to be here all night. So, it's the reality of it. And you can see how Godoy, he himself, with all the experience, a year away from retirement, he's just like, quién sabe, man. No sé.
Excellent stuff, Alex, from the boys today. Any other last thoughts on that part?
No, I Hannibal Godoy is a veteran. He's seen it all, but I bet you anything he's never seen 6 red cards in 6 matches before. So I feel him when he goes like, I don't know what's going on.
Not unless he had done 2 of them himself, right? That's the only time he's ever seen it.
Pencil me down for next person to get a red card. Aníbal Godoy.
Yeah, he's like, let me take this into my own hands. Like, what I'm saying is too many red cards, not enough for me. Tony, what's the latest on Andres Reyes?
So let me go ahead actually and pull up Mikey Vadas towards the end, because that was the final question that he was asked in terms of any injury updates, because it was surprising. It was surprising to me. Let me see if I can just give me a quick second here. But was it, I crossed my podcast. Was it here where I said that if he returns, Bonadua could potentially go back to the midfield?
Yeah, you said that last time.
We talked
on
about
Monday.
that. Yeah,
we talked
about
about
that.
Yeah. It went back to back episodes. Yeah.
We'll say it again.
Well, I do think that there's a chance once Andres Reyes comes back, this DP level player that was supposed to be part of this team year one that you paid so much for, you have so much, gam and tam invested in him, and you've never seen him. He actually takes a red card in one of the matches that Aníbal Godoy was talking about, Colorado. And that's the last time you saw him. And after that match, he goes off to Colombia and has a surgery without telling the team. The team finds out from a personal post from Andres Reyes that he's coming out post-op, and he's saying successful surgery. The team didn't know that happened, but now they have to live with the consequences of that. But yeah, we'll hear Mikey Vada's injury update for everybody at San Diego FC.
Pellegrino's return, and are there any other updates on the injury front?
Yeah, we have a few guys back to training this week. So Ian, Kieran, Andres even got into some of the training. Pele also trained this week, and it's going to be dependent on how he comes out of the training, but he could be available.
Okay, and then
And look, ahead of schedule. Andres Reyes was supposed to make his full return after the World Cup, but I think because of the situation and injury situation that SDFC find themselves in, that can be moved up a little bit quicker.
Hey, that was pretty slick. That was pretty slick the way he just like slipped that in there. And I bet you most people didn't even catch it. Like, Andres, did he mean Anders? Oh, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, the most important one, though, transitioning to thinking about Saturday, is the idea that Pellegrino could be out there for some period of time, even if it's second half substitution territory. If you can get Pellegrino back out there, that is what you need to create some friction around Anders Dreyer, because right now Dreyer is just kind of getting webbed out of the action, both because SDFC is having a hard time advancing the ball. And I mean, he's just driving and striving and hugging the turns. He's doing everything he can to try and generate offense, but it's so hard when you don't have a great partner.
Yeah, it is. And he's the one making all the creations, right? He's trying to pass the ball inside the box. He's trying to shoot the ball. He's trying to do everything he can. But yeah, you also need that partner on the other side that can, complete and finish off a run. And right now, San Diego just didn't have it the last match. I think Morgan did come with an assist, and it was like a 1 in a million shot that Bombino kicked that one in. But you also need like him. You need Morgan to kind of start shooting and also trying to get a goal in, and also whoever plays the left wing also doing the same thing, or flip it on the other side, have them create, give the chances out to Dreyer if that's possible, and that's ideally what you want to see, because Dreyer is your best goal scorer.
Well, here was the lineup for the last time, which wasn't too long ago, against RSL. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Similar situation in the back. This is the last time you see, actually not similar situation. You have Dua and McVeigh together.
Oh, what, you're allowed to play them both?
Apparently, but not for a full 90, Craig, because too much. It's one of those magic cards that has a special effect that has to go back to the hand or something after the end of the turn.
I get it.
But Verhoeven over on the right back side, I do think that we might see Willie coming back a little bit more into that starting role. Last time Willie Kamada played in RSL, he had that fantastic run and assist up there, and we haven't really seen much of him, but he provides speed, and defensively he can get back because of that speed, but he also gives Dreyer a little bit less to do and less on his plate. If Pellegrino starts up there, it's going to be interesting. In Varsson, though, he didn't start last match, and that's because there was a little bit of a knock to him, and he wasn't at 100%. He wasn't as the healthiest man on San Diego FC on that particular day. So that's why Morgan got that start. Now, is it going to linger? Is it going to continue moving forward? We'll have to see. But in this match, Varsson was a very big presence and a really big reason why San Diego FC was at least able to salvage a point from this match. But also to answer why Luca Bombino doesn't cross, the last time he crossed was against RSL, and it hit a guy in the arm and nothing happened.
Right. We forgot what handballs are.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Thanks for twisting the knife, Tony.
Hey, look, this is the context everybody's going into this match with, right? This is a
Yeah.
rested team. RSL had just come back from winning back-to-back games. San Diego FC doesn't win this match, but you are the stopgap to that. You're the team that stopped their winning ways. So that has to matter for something, right? The match doesn't go your way, but I think it's still a winnable matchup depending on whether or not your system is able to work, regardless of who's there. If not Alex Blanton, is Morgan is up there, Morgan needs to start getting rid of that first instinct almost and go with the style of Right to Dream. He needs to shoot more, right, Alex? But what he does is that he takes an extra second of thinking, well, what does the Right to Book playbook say? It actually usually means pass here. And then in that split second, the defense is already on you and you have to shoot or you have to pass. And then that pass is ineffective.
Yeah, that's right. And this was a team that when we saw them last time, they outshot San Diego FC. RSL had 21. San Diego had 14. More shots on target. The RSL clearly created more opportunities for themselves. And look, and at the very end, they got the cross in, and they were still looking to add at the very end to try to get a win. And I'm gonna expect the same type of styles, the same type of pressure. Like everything's everything's gonna be the same for this team, and they're still very dangerous, right? The last match they didn't play last week. They had a bye the week prior. Diego Luna, Sergi Solans, and Xavier Gozo all scored goals for a 3-1 victory. That is dangerous when you have three guys like that can move, score. They have speed. They create chances for each other. Yeah, that's gonna be a lot for this young back line that's gonna start on Saturday. So good luck to them. That they expect a lot of running, expect to get a lot of miles in, because this team is going to bring the pressure. They're going to create. This is probably the team that likes to shoot from outside the box a lot. Probably like 7th in the league, I believe, and yeah, just expect that. Just expect, as if there's a mistake, which San Diego FC has I think the second most errors that lead to a shot. If there's a mistake somewhere in that third defensive third, expect a shot right away for RSL, because they're gonna bring it. They're really gonna be on the front foot.
Does Vasquez start in that third midfield spot again? Is Soma to be seen again? Who do you guys? I mean, I feel like it's gonna be Vasquez, but that's a spot that's really kind of been lacking.
That's a really good question. I mean, I feel like Valkyrie has to be out there. He's done a really good job. He is probably one of those contributors that you see him on both sides of the ball, attack and defense, and I think he has to be out there. Of course, Yepe. That means you're taking Godoy out, but maybe it depends on what you want to see. Do you want to see Vasquez because you want more of an attacking production, or do you want to see Soma because he gives you a good pivot, partnership with Yepe on the defensive side? So it all depends on what Mikey wants to see there, and I think I'd go with Vasquez just to be more on the front foot and try to create pressure on that side. But I don't think you could go wrong with either one.
I think Vasquez has been the victim of a lot of these red card situations too, indirectly, because he's the player that is the first player sacrificed for either a switch, or it's a player that you're not going to have to play in a moment that you would have had him because of the impending situation where you're down 10 and you'd rather throw in Vartson in there, or you need another defender. And by the time he does get out there, it's just a little bit too late, because Vasquez is that player that surveys the game really well. He gets a feel for it. He has some audacious tries here and there, and eventually he figures it out. Like eventually he gets into those spaces, into those pockets, and he gives an assist or can get himself a goal. But I'm not sure that right now he's potentially ready to go ahead and start so far right now. But it's a depending on how Mikey's going to want to do this. And I think SanDiego FC is better off coming at it as fast as you can. First half, get as much offense as you can, expend yourself and try to get a goal or two before the half, because you know that you have been able to go ahead and manage these games a man down and not give a goal up in the second half. That's something that if you have 11v11, it's a more manageable because you have another person in there and you can stick to that style of keeping the ball, keeping possession. But once you've already managed the game in the first half and scored as much as you can, even if that just means one, and you start going back to that style, looking for another look. But I think that's what SanDiego FC will probably come out and just try to get a quick goal and get a quick handle of this match in that way. But RSL is a team that does have that dynamic aspect that can just te vacuna. They just come back and they just punish you in these situations.
Well, guys, this just looks to me like hang in there. Can we be surprised? Can we get a really pleasant surprise from SDFC like they delivered so many times in the first season, where they'd go into a road match and you'd think, oh boy, this is going to be a really hard one. And then all of a sudden they just come up with a scintillating performance where they're on the front foot the entire time and they're dictating tempo. They have not been able to do that for a while. So that's what I'm going to be watching for on Saturday evening and reviewing the tape, is how many times can SDFC play the game on the front foot the way they like at their tempo, as opposed to the, as Alex dictated, mistakes that turn into shots, breakdowns in the chain of the equation that all of a sudden leave it as kind of a broken thought, which is what it's been for SDFC for a while now.
Hey, Duran temp check. Sorry, Alex.
Go.
Where are you with him? I know you wanted him just excommunicated last week and just out there. Where are you at with him? Would you want to see him start again?
Yes, I think they're gonna stick with him. It's just and I know that he's been very good, but he was very good to start the season, and then the last few games in league play, they've given up a lot of goals, and it's not his fault. I mean, you're just down a man, you're down a center back usually in these games, and what is he supposed to do? But I think when either I make the point or Craig makes the point, I think it's just about the age and just about having someone that can kind of guide the back line. It has nothing to do with performance. It's just about the experience, and can someone just kind of be a helping hand out there to guide these guys, because you're gonna, if it's not like free, it's gonna have to be Bombino, because it kind of seems like he's the leader of this group now. Because I think that's all it is. I mean, I've looked at the stats, and he's very good. Very he came out with 3 clean sheets right to start the season. That made him shoot up in the league. But ever since then, those opportunities, that stoppy, what do you call it? Like those save percentages have gone down. I mean, it's just slowly gone down just because they've given up a lot of goals. I mean, and again, not his fault.
I don't think his fault. I don't think it's his fault either. I do think what's happened, and it's not to speak on Duran, it's that the roster has fallen into a roster trap where they repeatedly in the offseason cycled out the opportunity to bring in a veteran to play on a depth role. Some of the veterans they brought in, like Boateng, like, why is he even here? To be honest with you, why is he even on the roster? What's the point? You can't use him. You don't play him. You can't use him. Why is he here? How much better would it have been to use that resource to have a veteran third center back or third right back, another right back, somebody that could step in here. Because what I feel like has happened is, okay, we've got McVay. We don't need McNair anymore. McNair can go. We don't need Negri anymore. Negri can go. We can replace him with youth. We are the academy team. We're right to dream. We can get younger and better. That's the whole thing. That's our secret sauce, right? We've already got Bombino. We like Verhoeven. We'll bring in Sue. Sue will be one of those guys that'll, okay, well, all of a sudden, because of the red cards and because of the defection of veteran depth, now every other team in their film session with their forwards and their midfielders in the press discussion are saying, look at this group. Nobody has experience in this entire group. All we have to do is switch it up a little bit. Let's change this X and this Y. Let's slightly alter what we're doing. They're not going to be able to react. They're not going to have they don't have the experience. There's not that guiding light out there that all of the talented young players can follow. And that's a little bit of a simplistic narrative. You can be a lot more clinical breaking down film about it, but you guys understand what I'm saying? I feel like you get into a roster trap when every position all of a sudden is 20 and under. And now Dua is practically the most experienced guy, and he's actually a midfielder playing center back, and it's just a tough spot. But more important, I think it's an exploitable spot for opposing head coaches, assistant coaches, and those who are creating the schematic for the next match.
Well, I mean, speaking of under 20, right? Like SanDiego FC's not just playing with one hand behind their back with a second DP slot that's being taken, but there's also an under 20 slot that's not being taken by SanDiego FC. There's an open slot for a talented player two that are open for them to bring in a talented player to give some relief, some help. But I mean, I think they're just kind of sticking to what they have. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can do an emergency loan from a sister club at this point, but they believe in the people that they have.
Yeah.
Also, this might be good for you CJ fans out there.
He keeps progressing, and at this point, he's competing for playing time. Duran's, we feel, is doing well though, but CJ's starting to knock on the door.
Okay,
there you go.
CJ wants to play. CJ's getting there. Okay, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
A timely update from Mikey Varas. Anything else, guys, on this match before we adjourn before Saturday?
Just some keys. Number 1, finish with 11 guys on the field.
Yes.
Number 2 is, if you have the lead, keep the lead, because they're actually one of the worst teams after the 75th minute to concede, lose 4 points. So far in 2026, they have lost 4 points in 7 matches. They haven't even tried to gain any points after the 75th minute either. So keep the lead, and keep 11 men on the field on Saturday.
Well, and I'm looking for tempo. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for tempo and front foot, and dictating some form of the pace, even at altitude. They should have enough experience at this point in the season at altitude that they know how to come in, how to prepare, and how to get through the match. So I'm not going to give that to them as their get out of jail free card on Saturday night. With that, we'll bring season 2, episode 12 of the Chromaniacs to an end. Now, guys, we can chat to it off when the recording's done, or we can do it right now. But I will be at the Angels game on Saturday night with our Padres Hot Tub patrons. We have a Padres Hot Tub field trip to Angel Stadium for Padres Angels, and that game, first pitch is 6:38. Kickoff at Real Salt Lake, I believe, is literally 6:38. So if there's going to be a live post game on Saturday, it'll be with you two fellas. Or we can gather on Monday. We'll figure that part out.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We'll update everybody for sure.
Yeah, well, stay tuned. And Tony, where should they stay tuned to find out such things and maybe get other football knowledge about San Diego?
Absolutely. SanDiego.Futbol, that is the house of soccer in San Diego. It is what's taken us to the World Cup, and we're hoping to take you to the World Cup alongside with us, SanDiego.Futbol, San Diego FC, San Diego Wave, San Diego Soccer, Soccer's Overtime. San Diego Soccers have a very important matchup coming up as well. So pay attention to everything soccer in San Diego because it is definitely exciting. Alex.
And then I'm over at chromaticfc.com and where you'll get recaps and preview. I'll probably post a preview of this later tonight or tomorrow morning. And just catch me there on Chromatic FC SD on Instagram. And good luck to the Soccers on tomorrow night, right, Craig?
That's when it gets started. Thank you for saying that, Alex. And I wanted to make sure for all of the SDFC fans, I'd love to invite you to join Tony and I on the Soccer's playoff journey. And Alex, who went to the last match, join us on this Soccer's playoff journey because it's not a long commit for you, okay? It's like a couple weeks commit that can have a championship finish. Literally, the Soccers will play tomorrow night, Friday. Maybe if you're listening to the podcast, Friday this evening in St. Louis at 5 p.m. Pacific time. There is an official Soccers watch party. It's at Junkyard Sports Bar and Grill in Oceanside, basically across the street from Front Wave Arena. So if you know on that, but the MASL Shield will be there. I will be there serving as whatever. They asked me to crack the mic and giveaways and whatnot. But should be a good time had by all. But that will be leg one of a best of three series. Sunday, the series will be decided at Front Wave Arena. Kicking off at 5 o'clock will be the second match of the series, a 60-minute affair, of course. And at the end of that, if the series is tied 1-1, they'll take an intermission break and come out for a 15-minute knockout game. That is game 3 of the series. And the winner, one way or the other, goes to the Ron Newman Cup Finals the next week, and it will be played in the next week to take on the Milwaukee Wave and determine who wins the championship. So the games will be on CBS Sports Golazo Network, and if you want to go watch it, you can watch Tony and I Sunday evening. But if you're in San Diego, go check it out, frontwavearena.com, sdsoccers.com. Coming out to Front Wave Arena. Tickets as low as $12. The supporters will be out there. Los Brujos del 78, the subgroup of Chavos, they will be out there to help lead San Diego Soccers to victory. So come on out. If you've never watched indoor soccer, if you've kind of just been a casual to it, well, do what a casual does. Jump onto the bandwagon in the playoffs and do that this weekend. Lastly, I'm going to take like a 2-minute break as soon as we finish recording this, and then jump on our 14th live post-game show of the season for Padres Hot Tub for our patrons at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub, live on our Discord, because the Padres just won their 8th game in a row. Holy cow. 11th out of 12. Holy cow. Second best record in the league. Wow. Guess what? We're still in second place. There's the Dodgers are the thing that'll never go away, but nonetheless. So that's going to be happening. So if you want to be part of the fastest growing San Diego Padres community, you can do that for less than the cost of 1 gallon of gas at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. Not 1 tank of gas, 1 gallon of gas. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. Okay, that's it for tonight's show. For Tony Sanchez and Alex Pena, I'm Craig Elston saying, Vamos, SDFC.